Well, the one thing that I noticed about this market compared to the U.S. market in particular is it's completely fragmented still. The U.S. market, we see, whether it was the ISPs or the MSPs, which was the managed security providers and things like that, we still have complete fragmentation, and that's just part of what Japan's about, because you have these group companies, the Fujitsu, the Mitsubishi, and all that, and they have their little group IT companies, and they will continue to be fragmented. What you don't find in Japan is a lot of takeovers, mergers and acquisitions in the IT space. It's very, very difficult for a foreign company to come in here and say, I want to make an investment, a large investment, and actually buy a piece. You can rent colo all day long. You could create services with the colo all day long. And you can partner with these companies, but it does take a long time. But again, as the space becomes, as it remains fragmented, maybe this falls back into, Sean saying that, hey, it's just not up to spec in some levels, maybe because they don't have the money, or because they're saying, hey, I'm Fujitsu and I'm providing services mostly Fujitsu companies, and this is good enough, or this is the Fujitsu standard. I don't think you find outside of, again, KVH is building their own data centers. I'm not sure of any of the foreign carriers right now, or foreign entities that are building their own data centers in Japan. Equinox? Yeah, Equinix. Right, but I mean, those two companies are doing some interesting things with their space. It's a serious investment to make that.
It's huge.
Right.
I mean, coming from BT, I mean, we've actually looked into doing that very thing, whether we invest locally and buy brownfield, or do we do greenfield, or do we, what do we actually do? And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a very difficult call, because what is the demand domestically for that?
Well, and this lies in the problem, is that because this is Japan, right? And Japanese like to do Japanese business. So a foreigner coming here, and it takes a long time. We're talking 5 to 10 years of investment in order to get these relationships, in order to start to work. That's just the point of it all. And I think that a lot of foreign companies have an issue with regards to, I'm going to put $1 million in, I'm going to put $5 million in, I'm going to put $10 million in. When's my return? U.S., it's quarterly, man. We got to report on a quarterly basis here. And you're sitting there sinking millions of dollars into an economy that's supposed to be number 2, and you're not receiving anything, because it just takes that long to build these relationships. And NTT's tough to overcome.
No, it's true. I mean, we've now, from a BT perspective, we're now working with data center providers to actually do some of the cloud computing, do some of the evaluations, do virtual data centers, to expand their offering with a major data center in Tokyo. And that will actually lead into how to design it, how to work with it. But what we're going to get out of it would be consulting outside of Japan, not inside of Japan. We'll be their arm, because, again, one of the barriers to market is, do you speak Japanese? Right. When the customer calls us up, and so from the perspective of, in the finance community, from the hedge fund, they're sitting in New York and they want to trade on Tokyo Stock Exchange. The barriers under the market were they needed to have a local license, a local company ID, all of the local tax IDs in order to contract. Whereas if they came with a company that offered, like us as a global company, would offer the data center space, they could sign a contract anywhere they wanted, and then connect to the local broker, who then now has a license to trade on Tokyo Stock Exchange. So now Tokyo Stock Exchange is now expanding their remote member licenses, and also expanding on their whether the member needs to have the entity in Japan. So in the last year, so 2009, 2010, we're seeing a lot of the barriers being dropped for the financial community. So we're going to see faster latencies, or lower latencies, and also more foreign companies entering the market.
Do you think that's part of a result of the global recession, trying to stimulate growth in the Japanese economies, that they're actually relaxing some of these restrictions and protocols that you've got to go through?
To be honest, partially yes and no. These choices were made because globally, there was over 50% of the trading in international markets was done electronically. And this was before the market crashed. After the market crashed, or before the market crashed, we had OSC, TSC, TOCOM, TFX all announced that they were going to do co-location and offer co-location for their proximity customers. Now, in meetings that I've had with TSC, they've said that they don't want to do that. They'd rather keep it the way they want it and not offer DMA. So that they can't trade directly, so they're going to offer what we call light touch DMA, where some broker's sitting there with his elbow on the inner key of the trades that pass.
But who's still what was that? Gosh.
But you still have to go through the broker. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And they've said, we're not interested in that. Look what it did to the US. Look what it did to the UK at the end of the day. So that's
They're putting some safeguards into place.
They're trying.
They don't go down that path.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I would never, ever think that the Japanese would move that quick. They're not knee-jerkers.
Mm.
To assume that this is all being put in place because what has recently happened.
No, they're very, very calculated in the way that they go about doing it.
Exactly. That's just not.
Move, consolidate, analyse.
Right, the US made a mistake, somebody made a mistake, see?
That's true. And
Yeah.
also in the UK, there's liquidity hubs that come in, and right now, one of the big liquidity hubs are off-net exchanges. They're trading more than 10% of the actual exchange in London Stock Exchange. That liquidity hub has actually come into Japan and is looking to get a license and partnership to do that. But it's it's going to be very difficult. If that happens within all of Asia, I think we'll see a lot of things changing within the data center space in Asia.
Look, I think you've come from the next question there, which was going to be, what was the gap between, expectation and reality? What you obviously said there, that the expectation is people can come in and do business, but the reality of the situation is it's a long, hard process. Even if you do have the contacts and know the people, even and probably government contacts as well, it's still going to take a long time and a lot of investment. I think they're waiting on a business sense for you to prove yourself over a period of time before they really embrace your business, within their Japanese community. So I just get the feel that they really want to make sure you're solid, so you can actually contribute to the market and the growth of Japan itself. So it seems like that as well. Look, when entering the Japanese market, now you probably touched on a couple, but just bullet point these out. What are the key points to consider with people want to come into this market on that data center space, whether it's, it's probably going to be setting up an IDC or a colo or a cloud computing environment, particularly.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's, from the grassroots level is, are you going to have people on the ground or are you not going to have people on the ground? Do you want to set up a corporation here? Are you not going to set up a corporation here? That's just grassroots stuff. Are you planning to go it alone? Are you going to partner? I mean, are you going to create a joint venture? I mean, all of these things are ways to look at doing business in Japan. I think obviously the most difficult thing to do is find the right person. If you have a company in the United States or Europe or Asia and you're operating, and you have someone that you can trust and put on the ground, that's fantastic. We've seen time and time again where the problem is if you come into this market and hire a country manager and he's the wrong person, wow, you're in for a really long haul now.
Crucified.
Yeah, because you're a year or two out from what you thought you were going to be.
Yeah.
So I guess it really depends on, again, what your business is and what you're trying to accomplish with regards to that. There's a lot of ways to go about going and building a business in Japan. Depending on what country you're from, I would say start to utilize the Chamber of Commerce, of the embassy, things like that. Get people on the ground that you can talk to that have a little bit of local knowledge. Those types of things really help out. And then you got to map the market because I guarantee you there's going to be somebody in Japan that's some type of competitor. But then you've got to go and talk to their competitors and go, hey, we've got an interesting solution I'm glad to talk to you about. We just completed a contract that we've been working on for almost 24 months with a Japanese company. And I've lived here for 17 years. It took us 24 months. So, kind of go down this path. In Japan, they have this word called Tobanai penguin. Tobanai penguin, which is non-jumping penguins. If you ever think about penguins, they all look at the water and they all hang out, right? And they're looking at who's going to jump first. So when it comes to cloud services or whatever it may be, they're all kind of going, I'm not going to jump. But once one jumps, they all go in. And it's the same regard to any of the services that any of us offer. Until one jumps, nobody makes a decision. Once it jumps, wow, this market flies.
And it's usually a key person that jumps first that they wait for.
Oh, yeah, that's what you really need. And that's just the domino effect. And that's what any foreign company wants to see if you're offering them a service or a product of some sort. And you're at that very, very, kind of that bleeding edge, but then all the pennies start to jump. Wow, then you get yourself a great market.
Anything to add on to that?